So now we are going to start. We have completed chapter number 3 of the first canto. Now we are going to start with chapter number 4, the appearance of the Narad. Basically, the how the Bhagavatam was compiled, what was the inspiration behind writing this Bhagavatam is going to be narrated in this chapter number 4, 5, and 6. These 4 chapters are very, very important. So, of course, till now, Vyasa started writing this Bhagavatam, and he started with the story of Sukdeva Goswami. And Sukdeva Goswami narrates the story of Sukdeva Goswami. And Sukdeva Goswami narrates the story of Vyasa. But, you know, when Sukdeva Goswami has that part, it is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vyasa is again taking it over, and Vyasa is saying that, okay, on hearing Sukdeva Goswami speak thus, so he has glorified Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as Saunak Muni heard that Sukdeva Goswami is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, so and Saunak Muni was elderly, learned leader of all the rishis engaged in the prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Sukdeva Goswami by addressing him as follows. So, as soon as Sukdeva Goswami was about, first of all, Saunak Rishi is glorifying Sukdeva Goswami, saying that iti bruvan some tuya muninam dirghas satrinam vruddhakula pati sutam bhavrucha sonako bravit. On hearing Sukdeva Goswami speak thus, Sukdeva Goswami glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. Last 5 verses. Saunak was elderly, learned leader of all the rishis engaged in that prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Sukdeva Goswami by addressing him as follows. So basically, this is the quality of the who is asking the question. So in the meeting of learning, when there are congratulations or address for the speaker, the qualification of the congratulator should be as follows. If someone who should address the assembly, of course, the speaker Sukdeva Goswami, but to address the speaker, to introduce speaker, to address the assembly, there is one, you can say one anchor. The anchor was Sukdeva Goswami here. So what is the qualification of the anchor? It's mentioned here that he must be leader of the house and elderly man. So we have big assembly, then he should not just jump up and take it over. We should first of all request elderly or learned person to speak. And if they say, okay, you take it over, then we take it over. But first of all is the duty and our etiquette. Okay, if someone senior is present in our assembly, we should request him, please go and start this assembly or whatever. He must be vastly learned also. The Saunak Rishi had all these qualifications, and thus he stood up to congratulate Sri Sukdeva Goswami. Then he expressed his desire to present Srimad Bhagavatam exactly as he heard it from Sukdeva Goswami, and also realized it personally. So these are the qualifications. Okay. Personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous acharya. So, Sukdeva Goswami was appreciating this nature of Saunak Rishi was appreciating this nature of Sukdeva Goswami, that he was going to narrate the Bhagavatam as it is, as he has heard from Sukdeva Goswami. So this part he was appreciating. So this is the qualification of leader, one who is speaker of the assembly. So what are those qualifications? He should be elderly. So first of all, we should ask elderly person, and he should be learned leader. That's very, very important. Okay. He should be learned and he should be leader. So this is a qualification. So no learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original Acharya. If no- if Bhagavatam is parampara, then we should not hear from him. So the speaker and audience were bona fide in this meeting where Bhagavatam was being recited for the second time. That should be the standard of recitation of Bhagavatam so that real purpose can be served without difficulty. Okay, so unless this situation is created, Bhagavatam recitation for extraneous purpose is useless labor both for the speaker and for the audience. That purpose should be right. That should be pleasure of Lord Hari. And the speaker, Vakta and Srota both should be bona fide. It's very, very important. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Here is the Saunak Suta Mahabhaga Vadano Vadantamvara Katham Bhagavatim Punyam Yadaha Bhagwan Chukha. He says that Saunak said, O Sutta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and respected of all those who can speak and recite. Please relate the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by the great and powerful sage Sukdeva Goswami. So now, no, as soon as Sukdeva Goswami was about to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukdeva Goswami's Saunak Rishi is glorifying. So, no, he is addressed twice. Sukdeva Goswami is twice addressed, no, out of great joy. Sometimes, we speak 2 times, 3 times, just to emphasize. He was so happy. So again, this is very, very important, this purport. I'll just read as it is. I'm not going to give my explanation. Sukha Goswami is twice addressed hearing by Saunak Goswami out of great joy because he and member of the assembly were eager to hear the text of Srimad Bhagavatam uttered by Sukdeva Goswami. They were not interested in hearing it from bogus person who would interpret in his own way to suit his own purpose. So sometimes the Bhagavatam is most of the speakers they interpret the Bhagavatam just to entertain their own purpose. Generally, the so-called Bhagavatam reciter are either professional reader or so-called learned impersonalists who cannot enter into the transcendental personal activities of the Supreme Person. Such impersonalists twist some meaning out of Bhagavatam to suit and support impersonalist view. And the professional reader at once go to the 10th canto to mis-explain the most confidential part of the Lord's pastime. Neither of these reciter are bona fide person to recite Bhagavatam. Only one who is prepared to present Bhagavatam in the light of Sukdeva Goswami. Only those who are prepared to hear Sukdeva Goswami, his representative, are bona fide participant in the transcendental discussion of the Bhagavatam. So who are qualified? Only one who is prepared to present Bhagavatam in the light of Sukdeva Goswami. He is a bona fide speaker. Okay? And only those who are prepared to hear Sukdeva Goswami and his representative are bona fide participants. So if we are ready to hear Bhagavatam in Parampara, then we are considered as a bona fide hearer. Both Srota and Vakta must be qualified. Okay. In the next verse, he says that Tasmin yoge pravrutteyam stane vakyena hetuna kuta sanchodita Krishna Rutvan Sanhitam Muni. In what period and what place? So, in what period and what place was this first begun and why was this taken up? And from where did Krishna, Kirtan Vas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature? If you see, in the last few words, he's mentioning that, O learned Brahmana, when Sukdeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam, heard him with rapt attention, and thus, by his mercy, I learned Bhagavatam from that great powerful sage. Okay. So then he said, Sukdeva Goswami, the son of Vyasa, in his, the first is mentioning that Srila Vyasa deliver, you know, Vyasa compiled this Bhagavatam, then he delivered to Sukdeva Goswami. Then Sukdeva Goswami is mentioning that whatever I have heard from Sukdeva Goswami, I'm going to tell you. Now, when Sukdeva Goswami mentioned that, Sukdeva Goswami mentioned that, uh, Saunak Rishi is asking the question that in what period, so based on this last 5 verses of chapter number 3, Saunak Rishi is asking the question to Sukdeva Goswami that what are those questions? In what period and at what places was this first begun? And why was this taken up? What was the purpose? So then now again, if you go back to question number 1 and 2, what is the ultimate and absolute good for people in general? What is the essence of all the Vedic scripture? In answer to those questions, uh, Sukdeva Goswami is going to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. And again, of the sixth question, that what is the where the religious principle went after Lord Krishna's departure? That was the question. So in the reply of all those questions, Goswami is going to narrate Bhagavatam. So he has chosen the Bhagavatam. So before he began the Bhagavatam, again, Saunak Rishi is asking the question that in what period? So, so he's telling that you answer that, okay, Sukdeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and before that, Vyasa told this Bhagavatam to Sukdeva Goswami. In what period and what place was this first begun? Why was it taken up? What was the purpose it has been taken up? From where did Krishna Devan Vyas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature? So these are the questions of Saunak Rishi to Sukdeva Goswami. Again, in the next verse, he asked the question that Tasya Putra Mahayog Ikantamatir Anidro Gudo Mudo Evate. He says that his Vyasa's son was a great devotee, an equibalanced monist. He was a monist, huh? He was impersonalist, whose mind was always concentrated in monism. He was transcendental to mundane activities, but being unexposed, he appeared like an ignorant person. Srila Sukdeva Goswami was liberated soul, and he was always alert, not to trap by illusory energy. Okay. In the liberated soul and conditioned soul have different engagement. Okay. So the liberated soul is always engaged in progressive path of spiritual attainment. This is something like dream for the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul cannot imagine the actual engagement of the liberated soul. While the conditioned soul does dream about spiritual engagement, the liberated soul is aware. So Vyasa was, sorry, Sukdeva Goswami was monist. He was, he was not so much. Basically, he was not so much impressed by monism. Means they don't believe in the activity after liberation. They think that, oh, there is no activity after liberation. But they don't get attracted by Krishna's pastime. That's why here Saunak Rishi is asking the question that, oh, you heard this Bhagavatam, the wonderful narration of the pastime of Lord Krishna, and that narration you heard from Sukdeva Goswami. But Sukdeva Goswami was equibalanced monist. His mind was always concentrated in monism. Okay, he was already beyond the mundane activities, and he appeared like ignorant person. So he's narrating the quality of Sukdeva Goswami here. Then he says that. Then he says, "Anuyantam rusim atmajam api anganam divya rudhi paridhadur nasitasya chitram Tadavikshya pruchati muno jagadustavasti Ripumvidana Sutasya Vivika Drishte. While Sri Vyasa was following his son, beautiful young bath, bathing naked, cover their bodies with clothes. Although Sri Vyasa himself was not naked, but they had not done so when his son had passed. The sage inquired about this, and the young ladies replied that his son was purified, and when looking at them, he made no distinction between male and female. But the sage made such a distinction. To hear the exalted quality of Saunak Rishi is glorifying Sukdeva Goswami. First of all, he was monist, he was liberated, he was beyond transcendental, uh, all mundane activity was transcendental. Then again, once upon a time, as we discussed in the beginning of Sarmad Bhagavatam, I mentioned that Sukdeva Goswami was not coming out of the womb of his mother. For 16 years, he was in the womb of mother. So as soon as, on the request of Lord Krishna, he was ready to come out from the womb of mother. But as soon as he came out from the womb of mother, what he did, he immediately left the house of his father Vyasa. So he was just, as soon as came out from the womb, he was leaving. Means he has no time to wear the clothes. He was just naked, and he was 17-year-old. Can you imagine? He was liberated soul. So he has the choice to stay within the womb as long as he wants. Just like four Kumaras, Sanak Sanatan, all those four Kumaras, they like a babies, for 5-year-old babies. They didn't want it to grow. Why? They knew that as soon as they grow, their bodies will grow, the sense will demand their gratification. So they didn't want it to grow. So when he was leaving, on the way, there were some women who were taking bath. They were naked. Sukdeva Goswami was also naked. But when Sukdeva Goswami passed from there, uh, women didn't cover their body. They can sense easily. Woman has that power to sense the lusty desire of the man, and that gives the protection to woman. Okay, man has the strength, but woman has that sixth sense that so that they can identify who is the lusty man, and that will give them protection. Okay. So woman can easily sense, and when they saw this, even Egyptian didn't cover the body. Sukdeva Goswami just left. I Sukdeva Goswami has that quality that he didn't distinguish between male and female body. He has that vision. Just like, we have seen the 5th chapter, 18th verse. The Brahma Bhut, sorry, what is that? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Vijabi Hastini Suni Cheva Sapakecha Pandita Samdarsana. Okay. So he was a Samdarshi. He was not seeing the external body. Okay, this is female body, this is male body. The male body is attracted by female body is attracted by male body. He has not that distinction. Okay, he was transcendental. Yes, he was not attracted by this external beauty. Okay. But and he was brahmachari. Who Sukdeva Goswami was brahmachari. As soon as he came out from the womb, he left because there was Krishna. So he has always that distinguishing between male and female body. And that's why when Vyasdev was chasing his son who ran away, when Sukdeva Goswami passed from the place where naked women were taking bath, Vyasdev also passing from there. And as soon as this naked woman saw the Vyasdev, who has, nicely covered body, they immediately seeing the Vyasdev, they covered their body. And Vyasdev was surprised, when my son was very, he was crossing from this place, and you didn't cover body, and I'm old man. By seeing my body, you are covering yourself. What's the reason? Okay. So, Prabhupada writes wonderful purport about that. So it is said that learned sage looks equally on a learned and gentle Brahmana, a Chandala, a dog, cow due to his spiritual vision. Srila Sukdeva Goswami attained that stage. Thus, he did not see a male or female. He saw all living entities in different ways. Just like someone is liberated, even कुत्ते के अंदर भी आत्मा देखता है, डॉग ईटर के अंदर भी आत्मा दिखता है. The ladies who were bathing could understand the mind of the man simply by studying his demeanor. Just as by looking at the child, one can understand how innocent he is. Sukdeva Goswami was young boy, 16-year-old, and therefore all the part of his body were developed. He was naked also, and so were the ladies. But because Sukdeva Goswami was transcendental to sex relation, he appeared very innocent. Ladies, by their special qualification, could sense this at once, and therefore they were not very concerned about him. They also didn't feel agitation. But when his father passed, the ladies quickly raised. The ladies were exactly like his children or grandchildren, yet they reacted to the presence of Vyasa according to the social custom because Srila Vyasa played the part of householder. Of course, Vyasa was also transcendental, literary incarnation. He is also transcendental. That was playing the part of householder. Uh, they distinguish that. A householder has no distinguish between male and female. Sorry, householder has to distinguish between male and female. Otherwise, he cannot be a householder. And one should therefore attempt to know the distinction between body and soul without any attachment for male and female. As long as such a distinction is there, one should not try to become sannyasi like the Goswami. The same man distinguished that he should not try to become sannyasi. At least theoretically, one must be convinced that living entity is neither male or nor female. Of course, there is one more saying. Okay, someone is sannyasi, brahmacharya, and he should not distinguish between male body and female body. So exactly, he should treat the female body as he treat male body. Okay, no, equal vision. Okay, you may have equal vision, but you don't equally treat them. Just to respect the social etiquettes. Okay, so just remember this: equal vision does not mean equal treatment. Okay, it does not mean that I don't distinguish between male and female body. I am sannyasi and go and hug woman. It doesn't work like that. No. Equal vision does not mean equal treatment. Okay, please remember this thing. But we have externally because we have to. Otherwise, if someone does this thing, then it will create a chaos in the society. On the name of advancement, they will create a chaos in the society. So we are especially there are some sahajya, they wear sari and all. That we are beyond all those things. By this way, they create a havoc in the society. If you read, there are subsequent chapters. When Lord Krishna was departing from Hastinapur after the battle of Mahabharat, so all the women they went on the terrace and they were observing Krishna. They didn't go just close. That etiquette was there. Equal vision does not mean that equal treatment. We have to respect Sayat Pramadam Kurute Lokastad Anuvartate. So, they will follow that example. So, he did, let me also do. So, just to maintain that purity in the society. Okay, we may have equal vision, but we don't equally treat. Okay. Equally treat in the sense of negativity. So, don't take it wrong way. So, at least theoretically, one must be convinced that living entity is neither male or female. The outward race is made of matter by material nature to attract the opposite sex and thus keep one entangled in the material existence. A liberated soul is above this perverted distinction. It does not distinguish between one living being and another. For him, they are all one and the same spirit. The perfection of the spiritual vision is liberated stage, and Srila Sukdeva Goswami attained that stage. Srila Vyasa was also in the transcendental stage, but because he was in the householder's life, he did not pretend to be liberated soul as a matter of custom. As a matter of custom, okay, we can, but we don't equally treat. Okay? So, that custom we must observe. Next, we'll go ahead. Then he says, Tatmalakshita povre samprapta kuru jangalan mata mupa chadvad vicharan gaja sahavaye. Says, how was he recognized by the citizen when he entered the city of Hastinapur after wandering the province of Kuru and Jangala, appeared like a madman, dumb and retarded. When Sukdeva Goswami was roaming like a madman, he was naked, he was not wearing clothes, he looks like a dumb, he looks like a madman. How he was recognized? That is the question. Okay. Then in the next verse, he asks that कथं वा पाण्डवे यस्य राजर्षिर्मुनिना सह संवादसं that Yatresa Satvati Sruti. So how did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of Vedas to be sung to him? So how Parikshit Maharaj, so why he told Parikshit Maharaj? What was the reason? What was the circumstance that Parikshit Sukdeva Goswami told this Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj? So that is another question. In the next question, he says that Sahado Sahagodohan matram hi gruhesu gruhamedinam avekshate mahabhagas tirthi kurvans tadasrama. So Sukdeva Goswami was accustomed to stay at the door of householder only long enough for a cow to be milked. जब तक गाय का दूध निकाल लेते इतना ही समय वो किसी के घर पे रहते थे. And he did this just to sanctify the residence. Not that he was a beggar, so he was going to householder to ask money or anything. He was going there on the name of begging for his livelihood, but he was going there to sanctify those householders. Then in the next question, that the next verse says, Abhimanyu sutam sutta rahur bhagavatomam tasya janma mahashcharya karmani cha grunihina. They said that Maharaj Parikshit is great first class devotee of Lord and that his birth and activities are all wonderful. Please tell us about him. So when he told that, oh, I'm going to narrate you the Bhagavatam which was recited by Sukdeva Goswami, it was Parikshit Maharaj. So then he remembered, some question related to Parikshit Maharaj. Oh, he was a great king and he was the son of uh, Abhimanyu Putra and he was about to be killed in the womb of Putra. Then how he took a birth. You also want to hear his activity, his birth and activities. So please tell us about him. And he says, Sahasamratakasya va heto Panduna Manavardhana Prayo Pravishwa Ganga ya Mana Bhutya Dhira Histriyam. He says, he was a great emperor and possessed all the opulence of his acquired kingdom. He was exalted that he was increasing the prestige of Pandu dynasty. Why did he give up everything to sit down on the bank of the Ganges and fast until death? ऐसा तो त्याग है. He was a great king. He was coming in the dynasty of Pandus. What was the reason that he needed to give up everything and sat at the bank of Ganges fasting till death? Why he did that? There are so many questions are coming. And he again asks, Namate yat padanike atmana Sivaya haniya dhanani satrabha Sasa vihira sriyam anga Dustejam Juvesto Taslustramaho. So Hamsubhi, he was such a great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. He was not ordinary king. Was Samrat, emperor. He was the king of all kings. He was full of youth and strength. He possessed kingly opulence that were difficult to give up. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life? This was the question. And in the next question, verse, he asked that शिवाय लोकस्य भवाय भूतये ये उत्तम श्लोक परायणा जना जीवन्ति न आत्म अर्थमसो परश्रयः मुमोच निर्विधा कुतः कलेवरम्. Those who are devoted to the cause of personality of Godhead live only for the welfare. So Parikshit Maharaj was the devotee. He was devoted to personality of Godhead, so he lived for the welfare of others. How? By giving them Krishna. So he lived only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. So all welfare, development, and happiness will come by giving them Krishna consciousness. They do not live for any selfish interest. Parikshit Maharaj, he was king. He cannot be personal. He was for everyone. He could not have any self-interest. So even though the emperor was free from all attachment, so of course he was a great devotee, so he has no attachment for this royalties and royal honors and everything. He was free from all those things. He was just ruling for the sake of giving the welfare of all the people. He was free from all those attachments. Why if he is meant for the welfare of everyone, then how could he gave up his mortal body, which was shelter for others? This body was useful for others' benefit. Then why he decided to give up his sorry? How could he give up his mortal body? So that is another question. The next question that I'll complete this question parts. Then he says, Sarvam na sama chakshva rusto yadiha kinchana manaye tvam visaye vacham snatam anyatra bhandasatat. We know that you are expert in meaning of all subjects except some portion of the Vedas. Sukdeva Goswami was not expert in reciting mantra very nicely, but he has clear understanding of all the Vedic literature. So that's why he's mentioning that you are expert in the meaning of all the subjects except some portion of the Veda. And thus you can clearly explain the answer to all the questions we have just put. The difference between Vedas and Purana is like that between Brahmana and Parivrajaka's. The Brahmanas are meant to administer some fruitive sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas, but Parivrajacharya or learned preacher are meant to disseminate the transcendental knowledge to one and all. So Brahmanas are meant for fruitive activities, but Parivrajakacharyas are meant to give the transcendental knowledge to everyone. As such, the Parivrajakacharyas are not always expert in the pronouncing the Vedic mantra. So Parivrajacharya, you may find in the ISKCON, there are many, they may not be expert in reciting the mantras, but they have understanding. What is the essence? They are engaged in the preaching mission. Lord Chaitanya's mission. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally instruct you spread the glories of Krishna Bhakti. Even Krishna himself instructed Bhagavad Gita that please distribute this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to everyone. These Parivrajakacharyas are always engaged in distributing the knowledge, essence of all the Vedic scripture. But these Brahmanas are mostly engaged in fruitive activities. Okay. So maybe these preachers may not be expert in reciting all the Vedic mantras. Okay. So that is what is mentioned. As such, the Parivrajakacharyas are not always expert in pronouncing the Vedic mantra, which are practiced systematically by accent and meter by the Brahmanas who are meant for administering Vedic rites. Yet it should not be considered that Brahmanas are more important than the itinerant preacher. Okay, you may not be expert. You may be expert in reciting mantras, but you cannot preaching. So, preaching is sharing the Krishna consciousness is very, very important. Okay, so they are one and different simultaneously because they are meant for the same end in different ways. Uh, there is no difference between Vedic mantra and what is explained in Purana and Ityasa. According to the Sri Goswami, it is mentioned in the Madhya the Vedas, Purana, Ityasa, Upanishads are emanation from the breathing of the Supreme Being. The only difference is that Vedic mantra are mostly begun with the Pranava Omkar, and it required some training to practice the metric pronunciation of the Vedic mantra. So, it required training to pronounce the mantra properly. But that does not mean that Srimad Bhagavatam is of less important than the Vedic mantra. Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedic literature. On the contrary, it is the ripened fruit of all the Vedas. That's what we learned in the verse of the first chapter. As stated before, besides that, the most perfectly liberated soul, Srila Sukdeva Goswami, is absorbed in the study of Bhagavatam, although he steadily self-realized. Srila Sukdeva Goswami is following his footsteps, and therefore his position is not less important because he was not expert in chanting the mantras. So Sukdeva Goswami was not expert in chanting the mantras, but he has realized the essence of all Vedic literature. So that's why they are saying that, oh, you are expert in the meaning of all subject matters except some portion of the Vedas. So he was not expert in reciting mantras and all. Okay, that's okay. But he has more than recitation like error, it's important that you have realized it. So these are the questions asked by Saunak Rishi again. So tomorrow onwards, we'll see how the Sri Goswami is answering to all those questions. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.